Okay, I think we're on. Sure, I have. All right. So, guess what? It's still a little. Too late. Okay. So, welcome to you if you're watching the replay. And I hope wherever you're at, you're enjoying this. You're having a wonderful day, an evening, morning, wherever you're at by the time you're watching this. So I wanted to really come on and I wanted to really talk about a concept that, number one, has been hugely beneficial and really changing my life around and creating more sense out of everything. And number two, something that really has been very popular in probably, I guess, the both the New Thought world, the sort of philosophical world, as well as the spiritual world. And that is what's commonly called the seven universal laws, the seven spiritual laws. And there actually probably are several books about these as well. And I first came upon that concept in a book called the Kybalion. And so I now have it on on ebook now on Kindle. And I used to have it in a paperback form. And I took that book around with me everywhere. It was only about like yay big. And I just would stick that in my purse because I have a huge purse. And I would just stick it in there and take it everywhere. And I just like highlighted it and all this dog-eared the leaves and everything. And one day, I don't know, it just gets tired of me and decided it was going to walk and left me and found a home somewhere else, I imagine. So it was ready to move on to someone else. It's like you get it. Just go get another copy if you need. But I felt like it's like I'm needed elsewhere. So I'm gonna just step away. So that copy left forever. And hopefully it's found a good home. So yeah, I really want to talk about it. And actually for the next 6 little videos after this, I really want to talk about the other laws and the other principles as well. So you may or may not be familiar with the Kybalion. Likely you've read it before. If you have not, it is it's one of those old kind of new thought. It's a occult, and also it's got a lot in common with the things that a lot of the other books that came out at the turn of the 20th century, like Napoleon Hill's book. I'm not sure if the Master Key System by Charles F. Hennell was also written around the same time, but there was a slew, and there's many more. The Science of Getting Rich, I believe, right around the beginning of the 20th century, there were a bunch of books that came out that were considered both self-improvement books, but a lot of them were just called New Thought. And this kind of straddled the line. This was New Thought, but also considered an occult or magic text as well. So it came out very early in the 20th century, in the year of our Lord, 1908, a long time ago, literally over a century ago as well. So if you haven't, this is the book, and it's written supposedly by the three initiates, which, is kind of a pseudonym for, I think they actually arrived at who they believe actually wrote the book, which is likely written by a person. And this is where so the Kybalion actually is meant to be presented as the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, who was called the Master of Masters and the Father of the Occult. Now, if you are not into, very occulty stuff, or if you are someone who kind of shuns away from like religious sort of situations, as I do, I totally hear you. And I see you. I understand where you're coming from. This book, however, to me presented so much sense and made so much sense and had such wisdom to share that even if you don't take every grain of salt from it, it to me there's a lot of wisdom that can be had there. And I believe that what's called the Seven Hermetic Principles, now known as the Seven Universal Laws or the Seven Spiritual Laws, is one with like huge kernel of wisdom that I think is cool, is beneficial. There are so many spiritual tomes that are full of a lot of wisdom, such as the Bible, the Course in Miracles book as well, which is really heavily based on Christianity. They refer to Jesus a lot. They refer to God a lot. That may not be who you worship or who you bow to, or maybe you don't worship or bow to anyone, but yet the wisdom that is there on living your life and taking back your power and the spiritual wisdom and the guidance there is phenomenal. And I believe that this also is the same, and it presents a lot of wisdom. So basically this was meant to be, they call it the Hermetic philosophy. And it is the teachings of this Hermes Trismegistus as these three initiates understand it. And that's where the Kybalion comes in. That's what this book is, basically. It is all about the secretive wisdom coming out to people who are ready to hear. So, and as someone who is, I obviously am, if you don't know, I'm a tarot consultant. And the Golden Dawn was an occult organization that was responsible for the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, which is the #1 most popular tarot deck ever, most successful tarot deck ever. And they were also followers of the Hermetic principles, Hermetic philosophy. So a lot of things that you see in the tarot will be based on or inspired by or will refer secretly to things that are in this book and other books. So we are talking about today the 7 here, okay? And so I'm going to read you a little blurb. It says, the 7 Hermetic Principles. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these, understandingly, possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. Okay, so this is literally saying that this will help you to take the wisdom that's going to help you in life, help you make sense of everything. All right, so there are 7 of these. And they are the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, also known as the law of attraction, everyone's BFF, right? The principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, one of my favorites, and to me, a huge linchpin on, I can't wait to talk about that. That one is big to me. And also the principle of gender, which is really interesting. So today we're going to do each one of these. So the first one today, we're going to do the principle of mentalism. So what in the heck is the principle of mentalism? Well, according to the Kybalion and those who follow Hermes Trismegistus, the principle of mentalism is the all is mind. The universe is mental. Okay, so we have here the all is mind and the universe is mental. I'm going to read just a little bit more of this as well. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations, is mental and is spirit, which is in itself unknowable, but is a universal, infinite, living mind. All right, so that is presented as a huge aspect of our reality. And to me, that is big. That is absolutely big. The law of mentalism, as they say, as explained, is that all is mind, that everything is mental in nature. Everything that you see around you that you can touch, feel, smell, digest is mental in nature, mental in origin. It exists because of the mind of something or someone. So even as you look around everywhere, basically what this law is stating that everything that around you has originated in the mind of something. So when we look out and you see all of these living creatures, animals, weather, clouds, it is hinting that the nature of the universe itself is mental, that the universe in itself is a big mind, and everything that you see around it has come from that mind. And we're getting now to the point in science where we're actually starting to talk about consciousness and the fact that, is the universe actually conscious? Is the universe actually, being able to think and make choices? And it's a really, really interesting time, of course, to be into science. And we're starting to see evidence that certainly could be the case. So when we talk about how all is mind, it also talks about how everything that you see is originating mentally, which includes the universe all around you. And if the universe is a big creative field, which we all can agree that it is extremely creative, then the nature of that creativity is mental. Everything is mental. Everything springs from the mind of something or someone. Okay, so it either comes from the universe's mind, it comes from your mind, or it comes from the mind of someone else. And when all of those things converge, like that's when really crazy things can happen. Like, for example, when you get an idea of multiple people kind of working together, immense, amazing things happen. So what does this mean potentially in our lives? Obviously, this is an old book that was written a long time ago, over a century ago now. And what does this mean? Is it still relevant for us in the 21st century? And I believe it totally is. To me, the law of mentalism states that all problems are mental in nature, and all solutions are mental in nature. Everything is mental in nature, including our issues and the solutions to our issues. Anytime you have a problem, that problem is mental. It is either created by your mind, created by someone else's mind, or created by another mind. So anytime we have a problem, it is the result of someone's mind. Also, the solution, same thing. The solution can be created from your mind in order to overcome that. So let's give an example. So let's say, for example, you're upset because you're in your 30s or 40s and you're not yet married and you don't have a kid, and this is what you wanted to have. So this is a big problem for you, right? And this is something that you're very upset about, or you're approaching that time and you still haven't found out who you want to be with. You still haven't figured that out. You thought you were going to figure that out by now. What the law of mentalism says is that problem is mental. It is completely in the mind. And I think this is true because, number one, the fact that you thinking that you are failing because you're not doing a certain thing is a mental problem. It's not really a problem unless you think that it is. So you can say that it was created by the mind of others in society who've come before you, number one, who have set that up because people have come before you have thought that people should be married and have a kid, and that's the proper way to have a life. That's what you should be proud of at this point. Because they thought this is the right answer, this is the proper answer, then now that idea is passed on to you. This is someone else's idea, someone else's thought. Someone else has created this issue mentally. Now, it also is in your mind because this likely came from another source. You adopted it as in your mind as an idea. And it's up to you to either decide that you want to get rid of that idea or keep it rolling. So it also is a problem with your mind as well. There likely is nothing wrong with you at all, but yet because you're holding yourself to this standard, it is a problem, and it's also mental as well. And the solution to that resides in your mind as well. And because your mind is such an immense, powerful thing, there are multiple ways you can solve it. Number one, you can mentally decide that solution is not going to really apply to you. You decide that you're not broken or there's nothing wrong with you because you're not married and have a kid by a certain age. You can decide that someone else's baggage and therefore doesn't apply to you. If you're not ready yet, if it hasn't presented itself yet, it's not for you. You can change your mind. Change your mind about that. That's one solution. You also could look differently, perhaps, at maybe if this is something that you decide you really, really want, maybe you need to also create a mental solution of perhaps changing how you're doing things, perhaps changing the way you meet people, perhaps not being as picky or as selective. Now, every choice we make can have a consequence as well. So yes, I'm not saying that you should take anything, but sometimes if you want to decide on moving things forward, maybe you're able to have to go outside of your preferred physical look, your preferred race, your preferred height, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all, again, mental. The problem is mental and the solution is mental as well. Let's say you don't have enough money, and which is another common issue. That is a mental problem and the solution is mental. So it's a mental problem that is either created by yourself or something else outside of yourself. Is it created by something outside of yourself? Yes. Oh God, yes. Our society gives us a lot of pressure to tell us how much money we should be making, how much money is admirable. It also places value on how much money we're making. So you absolutely better believe that is a collective mind, collective thought, and collective mental process of everyone else around you that decides how much money you should be making. And if you're not making that money, you're not good enough. Again, the solution is mental as well. You can either say, screw the ideas of placing self-worth on how much I'm going to make. I'm going to change my perception of that. And I'm going to say, I am, can be happy and make money on X amount of money. I don't have to make this amount. I could be happy on this. Or you also can, if you decide you do want that type of money, that's okay too. You can decide that and then decide on things, changing the things that you need to change in order to be able to make that money, to come up with ideas in order to bring in extra income, to increase your income, to expand yourself out, and to be able to create extra money that will raise you up. Okay, so that is, in a nutshell, the law of mentalism. And I always, because I'm a tarot consultant as well, I also like to talk about a tarot card that I think represents this particular law. And to me, it's the Magician. Now, it's funny because you'll probably do double duty on this card because I also think this card represents another law as well. But I like the Magician as far as representing the law of mentalism. To me, the Magician is all about creativity and mind. To me, it's about intellect, it's about skill, and it's about using that to create things on our planet. And the Magician card is also, to me, the way I use the system is connected to the element of air, which is all about mental, our mental capacities, our mind. It is, and just like this is considered the number one underlying principle of everything. All is mental. Everything is mental. The universe is mental. Your power is mental. This is Major Arcana card number 1, and it's kind of considered, number 1 card in a line. It talks all about the power, the creative power of your mind to channel energies and to create and manifest change through the skilled application of your mind, which I think is dead on. So that's principle number 1, which is the law of mentalism. All is mind. To me, the takeaway is no matter what issue you're looking at right now, regardless of if it is body, and that's another thing, a lot of people want to change the way their body looks. That problem is mental too. It is mental. The problem is mental and the solution is mental. The problem is the way you're approaching it through your mind. A lot of people want to change their bodies in order to fit what's trendy for that moment in time, which can be problematic. Where a lot of us are trying to fit a certain Body shape, it's so funny because it used to be super skinny mini. I remember like all my life up until probably the last 10 years or so, it's been like super skinny. And now we're in a phase of it turning into the very voluptuous and big boobs, little waist, big butt, big hips is now kind of the trendy body. And a lot of people who are very thin are like, oh, you know, it's always that, because people are just struggling to fit into a trendy body type. And that problem is mental. Number one, who mentally created your problem? It very well could be someone else, other people who have decided that for you to be enough, for you to be beautiful, you have to fit a certain body type. That is funneling through someone else's perception and through someone else's mind. And when enough people all agree on that thought, it becomes it starts to feel more real. So the solution, again, is to number one, internal shift, change your perception, change the way this filters through your mind. Decide that you don't have to necessarily fit that perception to be beautiful, to be fit, to be healthy. Number two, change the outside mind. And actually, if you do decide you want that, if you decide that is doable for you, you may need to change the way you're thinking about certain things, such as your approach to exercise, to nutrition, to habits, to addictive eating patterns, all of that, okay? And by the way, if that is you, definitely make sure you're signed up for my newsletter and get your free video series on beautiful body mindset, by the way, because we talk about all of that stuff. And it's sent right to your email with several exercises. So definitely check that out. Okay, so that is a law of mentalism. So remember, the problem is mental, the solution is mental. Everything, the entire world around you basically is a product of your mind. That you literally, everything around you in your life, your house, your room, the room you're in, your yard, your job, the amount of money, the car you drive, the people around you, your friends, everything is there because of your mind, because of the way you think and what you've thought. And all the information, as it filters through your mind, you make a decision, it spits out the end result. Okay, so remember, to get different thoughts, you got to change how things are going through your mind, change your thoughts to change the results. So that's the law of mentalism from what I read into it in a nutshell. All right, so hopefully that is helpful and you enjoyed it. If so, if you're watching on YouTube, definitely subscribe or give a thumbs up. And we will see you for the next video in which we're going to talk about Hermetic Principle number 2, which is the law of correspondence. So thank you so much and be well and enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, wherever you are. And we'll see you next time. Stay safe and be well.